Welcome back. So let's let you get your thoughts on the question.
Yeah, so the question I asked you about the youth, you're not too young to run bill. It will be signed. But the question is, are the youth or the young people, are they ready to take this nation? And where are they taking the nation to?
Well, I think that my generation, we are creating as we go. And that's not to say we're freestyling. We're just creating as we go. I don't think that we're just out here shouting, we want to take over, we want to take over. We're actually taking concrete steps. Getting this done actually shows you how proactive we are as a generation, the not too young to run bill. 2 years of steadfastness, organizing, and on several levels, everybody doing their own part. That should show you that, look, these people mean business. So it's not, I understand the concern about being heavily invested in political parties, but you can't escape the fact that these are also structures that young people can leverage on to get into power. So there is a reason why a young person would, latch onto a party and may want to defend here and there. But that's one. I think that, again, I've mentioned this, that on several layers we are creating and we're putting in the steps to show that, look.
What are that question, what are those steps? Because the Nigerians generally will be looking, okay, they're not too young, the young people that want to take over.
Yes.
This is where we've been. We've heard from the forefathers, our founding fathers, where they wanted to take Nigeria to. We've seen between that time, the independence, and now, we've seen where Nigeria has been. Nigeria was moving forward and has come back and is now going around in a circle. So where are these young people going to take us to? What 3 points can you say, or what 3 steps can you say that the young people are put in place to take this nation to El Dorado? It might take a while, but how are we going?
Ease of processes, for me, I always look at young people in tech, for example, and the things they are creating. Let's look at Dr. Ola with Flying Doctors. Let's look at what's the woman with the blood bank thing. You know how difficult it was for some of these things to happen. We've created ease of process out of government, let's remember, and in an environment that is not really encouraging for business. Let's look at Aboyeji, the young man. Like, there's so many of us, and we're taking these steps not from a place of, what will I say? Will I say comfort? Or when I was much younger, you had to be from certain families to get this done. You had to have some certain pedigree. But no, we're creating from scratch. We're taking these ideas and we're building something from it. And Nigerians are benefiting from it. I've given this example again before. Now, in terms of politics, our generation, politics and all that, yes, there was democracy, but it was also in a circle. I remember you said you're from Cross. I remember I stayed in Calabar for a while, and people just believed from the pages of Ovation that power belonged to a certain group. Our generation came and we broke this space. We democratized the conversation. We opened it up for more people. Yes, we can say that we leveraged on social media. Well, lucky for us, it came in our time, and we have used it. Perhaps if it had come in another time, we don't know whether they would have used it well or not. But we took this and we ran with it. These have, most of us built from nothing. I'm an orphan. Many of the
So if you were to look at democracy generally, 19 years of democracy, the democratic experience in Nigeria, what would you say it's been like?
It's
it's been good for the young people?
Yes, it has, given that for our generation, most of my years have been spent under democracy. The few years under the military rule were not encouraging. We do not have that much personal experience from before this to know what the democracy before this felt like. So this is our own democracy, and this is 19 years of freedom for me, who is in my 20s. And it feels really good. It feels, freedom is a nice thing. I remember back then, even in church, you want to sing some songs where they'll mention the leader's name and you really have to hush it. And now we can look at our president in the eye and say certain things. I mean, sometimes your freedom of speech comes with a price, as we see. It keeps going up and down. But the opportunity to fight it on the level we're fighting it, we can't sweep that under the carpet. The opportunity to look at tyranny in the eye, the opportunity to be able to say, we don't want this, we don't like this. Or if you feel somebody's acting in a certain way, you can just say it out there. To be able to protest. I mean, I had relatives that were locked up for 8 months. Like in the first administration of the current government, the current president in the 80s. And I'm in politics now. My uncle didn't really do anything wrong. He was just in politics and he was locked up for 8 months. I think in terms of being a troublemaker, in quote, I'm worse than that, and democracy affords us that freedom. Are people suffering from it? We're seeing that. We're seeing some, issues here and there, especially with the present government. Sorry, I have to point this out. That there are issues with people's freedom, there are issues in trying to check what people say and all that, but that we still have the opportunity to fight. You don't have to run to London to fight. We still have that hope to hold on to. I think that's what democracy...
Yeah, but there's also the question as to whether or not the democracy has delivered the development that the people want. We were speaking with an economist yesterday, and he was talking about the political economy. He talked about how, yes, we're making progress economically, but that is not being appreciated because of all that is happening socially and politically. I mean, when you talk about also the security situation, yes, it's not been very commendable. But he says that it's difficult to appreciate it then. I was wondering, do you think that if we did not have, say, the security situation that we currently have, do you think people will be asking whether or not they have been able to get the development that they truly deserve through this democracy?
I think this security situation is like, I don't think we can just treat it as, how do I put this now? We can't treat it as if it did not happen. It's part and parcel of what is happening. I think it's all in and everything is part of it. And we can't just write it off, what if it didn't happen? It is happening, and the people are not getting what they want. And
the security situation, it would seem, has trailed almost every administration. Every administration has had its own security, challenge.
This is as widespread as it gets. I mean, almost every part of the nation is touched by this, and now it has become so normal that you hear it. The other day we had to do timeline from January to date, and people saw that it was almost every day that these killings are happening, and it has become so normalized. So this is part of our present. This is what it is, and the people cannot feel any sense of development. You can't come and say we built this and we built that when these people can't even access it. And I also think that a lot of our democracy is very middle class based. I think we have elitist leanings, because when you go back home, nope, they don't feel this, and they're detached.
Is it a fault of democracy, or is it how we have decided to practice ours?
We have decided to practice ours.
What's wrong with ours?
Again, I called it a bit elitist. I think that it doesn't penetrate to the grassroots, and then the grassroots have given up. So that's why you get to election season and they just want to get what they want and do away with you. Okay, just go over there and continue. And then we always go back home with the savior complex. Oh, we're here from the city to save you again. And then when we're done, we leave. I don't think so. I think that Nigerians need to get to a level where we all come to the table. And that means rich, poor, all tribes, and understand that everybody has a place here. Until then, I don't think there's...
How can our democracy be more engaging?
It's, I think if we do... Okay, so as an opposition party, and the PDP is an opposition party, it's no longer from the top down. That's what, I would use my the election in Southern Kaduna, Jama'ah, for example. We won the chairmanship seat under the present government, which is APC. And what we did was we had to build from the bottom up. Help was not going to come from anywhere. And what happened is those people were emotionally invested in the conversation, in the money they put in there. This was their candidate. They needed to send out a message that they were not happy with what was happening in their local government. So we didn't have money for that election. And everybody was asked to bring, and poor people were bringing their 500 naira, their 1,000 naira and everything. What happens when it happens is the present chairman is accountable. Their money is there, you understand? And because their money was there, they waited. They did not leave till their votes were counted, the votes were read out, and the chairman hears it every day. I don't think this is a situation where he can just walk away. I think he has been tied. Like, you have to serve these people. They used their money. This conversation started from the ground up. It didn't come from Abuja. It didn't come from any big godfather. It started from the ground up. And till we start looking at it from that angle, there's nothing that can be done, especially when you consider the delegate system and the money politics we play. The money that we spent, or the money that local government, the winners spent, and people who supported the winner was not up to a quarter of what the ruling party spent.
So does that mean that, look, do we expect much when the president signs this bill, or was just wait for, as you suggested, 2023?
No, we expect the foundation to be laid, and that is much.
How much can be achieved with that?
Well, that hope, the knowledge that you can get it done is something. The knowledge that you can get it done, that you're no longer cut off from this, and that you can start early. Because even at this age when you go, they didn't tell you that you have to go and start from councillor or something else, you're not old enough. It's a gerontocratic society. But that knowledge, when we build on that foundation now, what we're going to in 2023, what I try to see in everything is not the now. So that's why I may sound like nothing. No, everything is going to happen now, but I like to see where we are going. And where we're going is that 2023 will be massive. Right now, a lot of people could not politic because it's a lot of spending. You're spending money and you're not sure whether the president was going to signed this bill. I can imagine what Samson Itodo and the people at Yaga were going through, because we're calling them every day, like, we're really spending money, you don't know if Buhari would sign this, you know. And there are a lot of youths who would not go into that, would not take that risk. So,
all right. So, interesting place to live it. Indeed, Kato is a member of the PDP. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back in a moment. Do join us again.